What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of DeadBall TV. We're gonna keep these World Cup prediction videos rolling. Got a different cast today. Jake couldn't make it. He said he's been working too hard. Said something about burnout. Sounds soft to me. But anyways, we got our boy Albert Kim in here. Probably like fourth feature on the channel at this point to talk these World Cup groups. So how you doing, bro? Over from Seoul.
I'm good. I'm good. Just at my good old friend's crib at the moment. Little different
Fantastic.
setup. No mic today, but you can still hear my voice. And yeah, man. Got what? 10 days here until Korea's first game against Uruguay. Excited for that. And let's get it popping. I saw your other like Group V videos. I heard to shoot down the USMNT plane with Stinger missile too, so that was cool. So yeah, like I don't think I could top that, but that's like I fucks with it.
That's all right. Every 10 videos, Jake has something original and funny, and the rest of the time he's just staring at the camera. So, I mean, it'll come to you. It'll come to you.
It's in his contract. Once every 10 videos, he has to incite violence and say something horrifically offensive.
Yeah. He has to say more than 100 words for the entire episode.
Yeah.
Contractually. But before we get started, Albert, you said that there's an announcement that you wanted to make. So I don't know what this is about. Hopefully it's football related, but the floor is yours.
Yeah. No, I'm not. It's not personal. Like I didn't get someone pregnant, or I'm not having a vasectomy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm good.
We would be honored that you would decide to declare that on the platform, but I'm not sure how the viewers would feel.
I got a call from someone over at FIFA Plus, basically, which is FIFA's main streaming platform, I guess.
Okay.
And I will be one of 32 creators for the World Cup based here in Seoul, to appear on their daily show, and I'm gonna basically record like fan reactions during the games, interview people, and probably do like pre and post match analysis. So you'll see me on the FIFA Plus platform in a few weeks, hopefully.
Dude, that is sick.
Dude, congratulations, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Dope.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Mike at the tavern.
Shout out to Mike.
Me up with that. Shout out to Mike, but yeah, I'm gonna get ready for that. So don't know if I'm gonna get a lot of sleep during the tournament, but it'll be worth it, and hopefully, like I'll be able to report on more than 3 games. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
You don't need sleep during the tournament. Once every 4 years.
Yeah. It's like I'll destroy my sleep cycle for a month, so that's all right.
Right. You only need to be sleep deprived for 6 weeks.
The anxiety is gonna do that anyway. You might as well.
Exactly. Yeah. No. So.
Dude, congratulations. That is awesome news.
Yeah. No, it'll be great, and hopefully I'll get some good content. But looking forward to it, and it's gonna be a fun group for sure.
It is. Yeah. We're gonna be doing that one
next.
It is. Just before we move on, is all your coverage going to be in Korean?
I think basically when I'm on the show, I'm gonna speak in English, obviously with the hosts and whatnot. But when I interact with the fans, obviously I'll ask them questions in Korean.
Right.
But then I'll translate that into English probably. So it'll probably just be like a mix, but mostly like presenting in English, but definitely some interaction with the Korean fans on the ground, in Korean. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm interested to see how that's gonna turn out as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
That'll be fire, dude. All right, so I'm going to put Albert's social down below in the description so that you can get all that South Korean coverage on the ground. For Albert himself.
If you guys want like and subscribe to us, go fucking like and subscribe to him. He's big time. Please, God.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys, without further ado, after that exciting announcement from Albert, let's get into Group G. I don't know the alphabet. We're doing Group G, right? Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
I am not ESL. Or maybe I am. So this group, guys, we have Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon. There's a lot of stuff to say about this group. I think we should start with the big boys. I think we should start with Brazil. So, Connor, why don't you start us off kind of with your thoughts on this team and where you see them finishing, and then we'll just bounce off each other like that.
I think that Brazil usually carries a sort of pedigree going into every World Cup, and I'm just going to try and keep this concise. But yes, this pedigree that we're all familiar with, I think it started with Pelé, and then we really saw it take hold when Kaká came around, and then Ronaldinho and R9. Like it really cemented itself, and now Neymar's taking the crown, and maybe they didn't follow through in 2014 or 2018, but this is the real deal. This is the sleeping giant that has been awoken. This is the prodigal son of South American football. This is the army of White Walkers beyond the wall. They have depth at every single position. They have world beaters at every single position. I mean, Jack loves to talk about it. The Serie A's defender of the year can't even get fucking starting time on that team. So
that's Bremer for all you who don't know who I'm referring to.
It's an actual nightmare, and if anybody has them outside of the number one spot in this list, I think we're all kidding ourselves, because and what kills me is that they play a beautiful brand of football. Like, to watch this team play football is, I mean, it's like watching Manchester City when everything's going to plan. Like, or like Barcelona tiki-taka, you know? It's absolutely filthy. It is filthy, disgusting, and you love to watch it unless you're on the receiving end of it. And that is really all I care to say on the matter.
I would say if you don't have them first, you might be Cameroonian. Which could also be Serbian. That would be my my guess. Perhaps Swiss, number 3. Those might be the 3 demographics that don't have the Brazilians first. Before I give my thoughts, Albert, so you mostly cover Asian football, but obviously you're just a fan of the game in general and international football in general. Yeah. So, like, I'm kind of curious to hear your perspective of Brazil, because Connor and I, we watch CONMEBOL all the time. I'm not sure, like, how invested you are. You did see Brazil against Korea, and I don't want to bring up, a tragedy, but it was a smackdown. It was an absolute smackdown.
I know. Like, that game was just so we actually scored the first goal in that game, but I think we scored the equalizer not too long afterwards. And like, some part of me, like the football fan, the non-rational side of me, was like, oh my God, like, we scored, like, maybe we can actually compete against these guys. And then about 10-15 minutes later, I was like, oh, never mind.
You were down 4-1.
Like,
yeah,
it's like you blink and then it's like 4-1. It's like when Kevin Garnett told a story about, like, when he talked shit to Michael Jordan that one time, and then he thought he was, like, doing something, and then about like 10-20 minutes later, MJ had put up like 40-30 points on him. So that's pretty much like what happened this past summer when we played the Brazilians. Just like, again, like, the Korean team isn't garbage this year. We have good players, but it's just not in the same stratosphere as what the Brazilians have. Like what Connor said, I think, and what makes this Brazil team even scarier, I think, is because, like, in 2014 and 2018, they had solid players, but they didn't have, like, good team per se. They didn't have a solid spine. They didn't have a lot of depth. This is like the first time I look at Brazil and I actually say, wow, like, this reminds me of the 2002 Brazil team with guys like Cafu, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, guys like Cleverson, just depth everywhere. And in the past few tournaments, the World Cups, Brazil didn't actually scare me that much. I knew that they wouldn't win those tournaments, but this seems to be the year, especially because it's a mid-season World Cup, and given the fact that they have depth everywhere, I really think that it really is either Brazil or Argentina's tournament to lose. And considering that a lot of the European teams also have a lot of issues up and down their lineup, Brazil's only weakness to me, I think, is maybe at fullback. If you see their starting right back go down, do they play Dani Alves there, or is he there to be a cheerleader? That's about like the only nitpick the only hole I can pick in that team at the moment. I mean, you have guys like Coutinho who's hurt, I know, but Firmino's at home. I think Mateus Cunha didn't even make this team. Lodi, who's a solid player, also is left at home. Like, there's this, you could just create like a whole new, like, 23-man, 26-man squad that would be just like as good as almost any other team in the world. So that's what really scares me about Brazil. And I think they have a manager in Tiche who's extremely I think he's an intelligent manager, but I think what he's really good at is creating like a team atmosphere, managing all those personalities in that locker room. Something I think Luis Felipe Scolari and also Dunga were not so good at. And I think that's what scares me the most about this Brazilian team. And it's been a long time since they won a World Cup. It's been 20 years since they won a trophy. And to Brazilians, that's pretty much like 2 generations almost. So I think that they will really be more so than any other tournament we've seen in the past, 4-8 years. They will be probably more motivated than ever before to lift that trophy. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Completely agree. Imagine Danny Alves at right back being your weakness. Granted, he's aging, but that is fucking unheard of. And you're right though. Like the cohesion that they have, that shit's scary. They're samba dancing all over Europe. Everybody's angry at them, and they're just sambaing their way straight to glory. It's horrifying.
Their attackers are. It's probably the best that they've had since they won the last World Cup. I mean, if you go back and you think of like who they were playing up top in the last couple World Cups, like Willian, solid player, good player, Hulk, who was literally in Russia. I think Fred was getting starts at striker in 2014, maybe, and then a young Neymar, like bursting onto the scene. Now, I mean, their midfield is absolutely stacked now, and on the wings, do Vinicius, Neymar himself, who literally has like 21 goal involvements in 10 games or something in France. Like,
he's on a tear. He's absolutely losing his mind.
It's disgusting.
I think they have the best offense in world football right now.
They do.
And it's not close.
Albert brought it up, and for the group stage, which is what we're talking about today, I don't think the fullbacks will be a big problem, but they will be in the knockout rounds. Like, if Emerson Royale starts, if Dani Alves starts, that's a problem, and they're going to get exposed. I'm telling you, they're going to get exposed. And I'm not too convinced by Alex Telles. I just don't see them locking it down. Now, the center backs are solid. Thiago Silva, Marquinhos. Bremer did get called up for the World Cup, which I thought was hilarious. They finally got him in there. And even the coach was like, yeah, maybe we should have looked at him sooner. And I'm like, maybe you should have given him like a couple caps and some friendlies. But he's in there now. Militao as well. Like, I mean, they're just, the spine of the team is so strong. It's so strong. So for this group, I think, do we all have them first?
Oh yeah.
Okay. If I had to ask you guys how many points they taking from the group, what would you say?
9. I've got them for 9.
Okay. I got 9, but I could see 7 just because I could see them maybe drawing Serbia. I mean, we all thought they would get 9 4 years ago, and they drew the Swiss. So I could see them starting off maybe a game or two a little slower and then building up as the tournament progresses. But I 7 to 9, 7 at the lowest, 9 at the lowest.
So smart money's on 9, but you're right. Switzerland and Serbia, nobody to turn your nose up at, for sure.
I think they get 7. I think one of the Euro teams hold them to a draw, like a 1-1. And again, I think Serbia and Switzerland both have the talent to expose the few Brazilian weaknesses that exist. So I don't know which team is going to be. This is literally the same group from 2018 also, except we got Cameroon instead of Costa Rica. So these guys know what to do against each other. Like, it was a tough game against the Swiss last time for the Brazilians. I don't know if they want revenge or the Swiss want revenge, but it'll be really interesting to see these guys play out, because the big narrative that I keep seeing is like, oh, these European teams are so good. They're so good. South Americans, they don't really stand a chance. They're not used to like playing at this level. And it really is going to be up to primarily the Brazilians and the Argentines to dispel that rumor. The Ecuadorians and the Uruguayans will do what they can, but all eyes are on Brazil. Everybody has Brazil winning. And I think that's a little crazy. Like, I don't think they shouldn't be so clear that everybody is predicting them to win, but they should be clear enough that everyone is predicting them to win this group.
Yeah, for sure.
And absolutely. Connor, we've talked about this before. I think when we were not when we were in Austin, but some other time, about like Neymar's legacy. And like, dude, he needs something.
He needs this. He doesn't have a single trophy with Brazil besides the
Olympic gold medal.
The Olympic gold medal.
2016.
I mean, for the amount that this man has been hyped up, and for is frankly his talent and his skill level, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because we've all seen him be capable of truly great things, but the fact that he can't follow through with anything. I mean, this is the first year that he looks like he's truly capable of that.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's contributed in past World Cups for sure, and he was, pretty good in the last Copa America, even though they didn't win. But, like, for him to be taken seriously, for a player to give you anxiety, like when you come up against Fulham, Mitrovic gives you anxiety to play against, like Portugal led by Ronaldo, you get anxiety. Heung-min Son on Tottenham, like they get scared of him on the wing. Like frankly, I have anxiety from him and Harry Kane, and now Kulusevski too. Jesus Christ! But Neymar didn't really give that impression until this year, frankly, to me. Like he's always been like kind of a young upstart, but he looks like a grown man. He's playing like a grown man. These are the numbers that we all expected him to be putting up. And frankly, I didn't think he could do it. But the fact that he has the mental fortitude to turn that around and prove me wrong, I'm willing to concede. And I will be thinking about, I will be having anxiety dreams about this during the World Cup, without a doubt.
Do you guys think that because of what happened in 2014, right? We all remember the embarrassing loss to the Germans 7-1. And they also lost to the Belgians in the last World Cup as well, 2-1, I think in the quarters or something.
Quarters, yeah.
So it's back-to-back L's against European teams. Do you think that is going to be affecting perhaps the team's confidence when they have to go into this group and beyond?
I mean, I don't think so because a lot of those guys play in Europe anyway. Like those Brazilian guys are all used to living and playing against European competition. I just think more, it's just going to be about the mental hurdle. I think of getting past either the quarterfinals or the semis, which is what they've been getting eliminated at since 2002. I really think that for them, I know anything could happen in the World Cup. They could get knocked out early, but I think for them, if you look at the brackets, for them, the World Cup starts, I think, in the semifinals with a potential matchup against Argentina. If you look at the pathways, because that's what it looks like right now.
What a game!
And I think, yeah, if they beat Argentina in the semis, which I don't know if they will, I don't know who I'm taking in that game. They will most certainly win the World Cup, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. But I think that's when their real World Cup starts, and I think that's the expectation in Brazil. And I wouldn't expect them to falter anytime before then either. It'd be a massive disappointment.
Dog, I don't know who I'm taking in that game. I don't know who I'm taking in that game. But you're right. You're right. I mean,
yeah.
If they take out historic rivals in the semifinals, like who's going to stop them after that? Like, I mean, I don't know. If they could meet Portugal, they could meet. Even if France is firing on all cylinders, if we see a 2018 France here, they're not stopping a bloodlusted Brazil that just came off of beating Argentina in the semis. They've crushed their rival nation. Now they're on for domination. It's horrifying. We've got to stop these people before they get the ball rolling.
Well, we got to hope that some team in here can do it.
Yeah, if anybody can, please, God. What's scary is that they have fun doing it. Like I remember watching the Real Madrid Manchester City semifinal matchup, and it was all looking pretty hunky-dory. It was a really well thought out game, but then I think we were up like 2-0. I don't know if it was in the game or if it was aggregate, but I remember Benzema scored a goal and he like meets up with Modric, and there's still a goal down, mind you. He like meets up with Modric. They're like pointing at each other and they like hug and they like start laughing together. And I was like, why the fuck are they having fun? What the hell? They're losing. This is bad. That is them right now. Brazil is to the World Cup what Real Madrid is to the Champions League. This is theirs. This is theirs, and they're coming back for the crown.
Yeah.
And I'm horrified. It's entirely too poetic for me right now.
We can talk about a team in the group stage that's probably not going to do anything against Brazil, and that's the Cameroonians. I actually have seen a few people, it has to be memes, bro. Like, there's no way they believe this. Having Cameroon advance from the group, I mean, I'm going to say it right now, they got 0 points. They are
0
getting
points.
thrashed by all three of these teams.
Yeah.
Then I said it, perhaps ignorantly and too soon yesterday in the episode we did, Connor, where I said that Australia will have the worst goal differential. It's because I forgot Cameroon was in this group.
You really
Cameroon
think
could
might?
genuinely walk away with -10. They could. I don't know if that's ever happened in the World Cup. Probably Saudi Arabia. They probably did it one time, but
Oh, they
I
did
think
in
they did.
2002. They did. I heard. Yeah,
Damn.
they gave up 8 to Germany in the first game. They gave up 3 to Ireland in the third game, and I think they gave 1 to Cameroon. By the way, that's a disgrace to Cameroon. They only scored. That's minus what? Minus 12. Yeah,
I
that's
hope
minus
Cameroon
12.
Jesus.
got out of that group.
Is
That sounds
8?
like a weak ass
They
group.
they didn't. Ireland finished second in that group too.
Damn,
So,
that's trash.
yeah,
Ireland's awful.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
8-0 the biggest score differential in World Cup history? I feel like it has to be.
No, I
Or
think
was
there
there
was like there might have been like 12-0 like in the 50s or 60s maybe.
something
It
like
might have been
that?
something higher.
Anything
I gotta look
before
that up.
76 doesn't count.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
When was
It
our
looks
first
like
World Cup? Hold on. I might have to revise that.
1930. The
Oh,
worst defeat is
1954.
Hungary beat South Korea 9-0.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, Albert. Didn't mean to bring that up.
No, it's all right. Yeah,
Damn.
that's like a year after the Korean War ended, so I give us credit
Yeah.
for even making that tournament. So
Yeah, that probably wasn't the focus of the country at the time. In
yeah,
y'all's
probably
defense.
some other shit. Yeah.
Yeah, probably something else occupying the national dialogue. But yeah, I mean, look, Cameroon, they're screwed. I think their recent friendlies are very indicative of what we can expect. I mean, failing to beat Uzbekistan in Jamaica recently is just inexcusable. I mean, if you want any prayer of advancing from this group, you got to do what the Brazilians have been doing lately, beating people 5-1, 3-0, 4-0. And Cameroon, not only are they not winning, they're losing. They're losing to Uzbekistan, who respectfully didn't even make it to the final round of Asian qualifying. I mean, it is bad. I don't know who their manager is. I don't care. It doesn't matter. They're not winning a game. They're not drawing a game. Their defense is in shambles. We don't need to bring up AFCON too much, but they were largely unimpressive. Had the easiest road to the semifinal I've ever seen. Really to the final. They should have beaten a poor Egypt side, bottled it. I don't know how the Cameroonians are even going to tune into these games. Like, what I really need to know what they're excited about and hopeful for, because I don't see it.
I don't know if they were just resting on their coattails. And you know what? I think I'm frankly going to speak for the entire continent of Africa for the most part. I was really disappointed by AFCON. Incredibly disappointed. I mean, coming off of, I don't know, a football team with like Yaya Toure on it. Like I wanted to see more of that. Like I remember you talking about Ivory Coast all the time, Jack, and like Didier Drogba. I remember that guy running circles around Manchester City. He's one of my favorite football players, and I hated Chelsea. Like I don't know. These guys are incredibly talented, and Africa has everything they need to be great. It's just the infrastructure is not in place, and you know what? I cannot forgive them for that because I got my hopes entirely too high for this Cup of Nations, and I was severely disappointed. It's embarrassing. It's like, I mean, when Boca and River were in the Super Clásico in the Copa Libertadores final for 2 years in a row, like we just embarrassed ourselves in front of the world with like reschedulings due to like hatred and violence and tear gas being thrown. Like it's kind of embarrassing. Like, and the same with obviously there wasn't like acts of violence at Africa Cup of Nations. That's not what I'm saying, but like the infrastructure was not there. The broadcasting was absolutely horrible. The quality of the
worst
camera,
commentary I've ever heard in my life.
the worst quality football that I've ever seen in my life. I've seen MLS games more entertaining than that tournament, which is a travesty. So I'm really disappointed. I'm upset. I want to root for the African teams. I get excited by that. I don't want a Eurocentric World Cup. I do not want that at all. I'm vehemently against that. But I mean, Africa's not doing anything to help out on that side. So Cameroon, yeah, I got you guys in fourth. And I hate to say it, but what do you want me to say?
0 points.
0 points.
Yeah.
What about you, Albert?
I mean, they were parking the bus against us when we were at the friendly. When you were here in Korea, Jack, against Korea, they were treating us like we were Brazil. I mean, that's how bad they are. And I think that they have a few decent physical specimens like Vincent Abukar, but shorting that, like putting that to the side, I think what's more embarrassing is I remember reading an article a few days ago from a Spanish outlet, and I think their coach can't even pronounce like the names of all his players correctly, like on his 26-man squad. There's a story to that right
Oh
now.
no,
If you look up the
that's
Cameroon
so
national
Cameroon,
football
I
team,
must say.
yeah, it says here, yeah, it's from Marca. I don't know if that pronunciation's right,
Yeah,
Connor, but
Marca. Yeah,
it's from
Yeah,
yeah, and it's
close enough.
talking
You're
about
good.
yeah, it's talking about basically how when they announced their list, their coach Rigobert Song couldn't even like pronounce the names of his guys, and the journalists were the ones who came and like helped him pronounce the names. So, I mean, they're already embarrassing themselves before the tournament even started. So,
Didn't he used to play for the national team?
yeah, he was a pretty damn good player too. Yeah,
And he can't pronounce it. Okay, I thought he was going to be some like Cuban guy, but he's literally Cameroonian and he can't pronounce the what the bro. What is with Cameroon, dude? Every World Cup, some players got beef. The manager sucks. They froze Joel Matip out of the squad because of the whole issues with the federation. There's infighting. Manager can't pronounce anybody's name. Doesn't know who his players are. I mean, like, what is wrong with this federation? They literally just cannot put it together.
It's a shambles. It's
It's a
embarrassing.
shambles.
It's embarrassing, and you know what? That is something that they have to fix inside. And sadly, the only way to do that is to stop participating, stop watching. Then they realize that, like, hey, there's money at stake here, because they don't like the federation doesn't
Maybe.
actually care. I mean, I hate to get like all jaded about this, but like, yeah, the federation doesn't give a fuck. But they're not going to hire people to do a good job until they realize what's at stake, until they realize what the audience and the people want to see. So, I mean, yeah, hopefully if something absolutely horrendous and embarrassing happens here, they're going to get somebody in who's going to take these boys out on I don't know, a fucking fishing trip and learn all their names before they get into the first, day of practice. Because that's what they deserve, bare minimum. At least that way, when he's yelling in the locker room for a 7-0 defeat, he can be like, Abubakar Mbwemo, like, I don't know.
Dude,
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
probably just listed more players than their national team manager knows off the top of his head. He's probably got flashcards. He literally probably has flashcards, a cheat sheet of his own roster.
Well, hopefully I pronounced them better than he did as well.
I think you did. And Connor, I think, first off, their fans deserve better. And the continent of Africa deserves better.
The continent of after the pedigree of like early 2000s, mid 2000s African players, there's some fucking studs out there.
There's some ballers there now.
Yeah. Yes. Correct.
And, Samuel Eto'o was brought in to be the president, I think. I don't even think he's been the president for a year. So to me, being out of touch, I think it's a good hire because you're getting in a guy who's a legend and who cares, who obviously cares. So I think that's the first step. Can he clean up all the mess, all the mud in one calendar year? Hell no. It's probably going to take him 5 years to get Cameroon back on track. Like, God willing, 2026, they're closer to where they need to be. And the next AFCON, they can actually put in a decent performance. But this version of Cameroon, bro, I mean, Toko Kambi, he's a dog. I like that guy. Abubakar, he's always dangerous off a set piece. They got, I can't remember brother's name on the Seattle Sounders, but they're fullback, very athletic, very physical, and surprisingly good one-on-one defender. I was not expecting a MLS guy to be that good. He looked really nice at AFCON.
Cholo?
Is that his name? He got no neck, really? He kind of got that, like looked like Marcus Acuna. He got that Marcus Acuna.
You got two MLS guys, one from Union and one from Seattle.
It's the Seattle guy. He's a dog.
I bet Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Cheyenne's got that guy picked.
No Hutolo.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's badass. Unfortunately,
I mean, no, they have good players. They just also they got to stop having their kids like basically play for European teams. I mean, it's might be controversial to say, but that's the effects of colonialism. Is that hundreds of years later, the kids of those like immigrants basically play for the European teams because they grew up.
Oh, you're talking international level.
Yeah, I mean, Africa would have won. Yeah, I mean, Mourinho said this that Africa in general, like Cameroon or whatever team, would have won a World Cup by now if they had kept most of their like I don't want to say they're African because they're, culturally, I'm sure they're European and they grew up there, but just, guys whose parents came from that continent, if they had kept all of them, they would, like, imagine like an all Africa team, how sick it would be. Like,
Yeah.
it's incredible the amount of talent that you lose to France, to Germany, to the Netherlands too. So I think it's probably also like a systematic thing where they have to just convince more kids to come play for their parents' birth country, which is what Ghana's been doing, which I think is pretty cool. So
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
we're gonna talk about Ghana next. I really want to get an African football expert on here to talk about that. Like, if I had to
Yeah.
list out my like desired interviews, I would love to get somebody who like just knows that world in and out. Why do all these dual nationals always pick Europe ignorantly? I mean, I've heard stories, there's issues with pay from the federations. Connor's, like you said, the Argentine FA just being a mess, not scheduling flights, not scheduling buses. There's no hotel, there's no accommodation. The training pitch is made of sand. And then they see what like the French got, and they're like, I think I'm going to do that because I want to get paid on time. I want to actually have a physical therapist team like
Yeah,
stretching me out.
God forbid you get injured and then you're stuck in like the Pampas of Argentina or something with no flight back, and you have like a ruptured tendon or something.
Yeah.
You're fucked. That might be your career right there. You don't want
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I understand why they do it, but do I want them to do it? No. I completely agree. Like, it's fucked that they go over there. Like, I remember what Messi, Spain tried to lure Messi away. And thank God the man was like, I love Argentina, because Spain's got a lot more to offer than Argentina. I'll put it flat out like that.
Mhm.
Thank God for Mate. Otherwise, Messi, Spain might have a couple more World Cups.
That's a
right
fact. That's a fact. He was like mate, café con leche, and then he went with mate.
Yeah.
Which I feel like no, actually, I love me some café con leche though.
There's
It's like a Euro 25
in Argentina too. Euro 25.
Oh man, I mean that was before inflation. It's probably 15 euro now, but we'll just have to find out.
The point is the African federations have to get their stuff together, and keep some of this talent, because they really deserve it. The continent deserves it. I don't know. Maybe in time for the next African-based World Cup, we'll be able to see something special there.
I hopefully so. And I'll just conclude by saying that if I had to guess, I would say that the Cameroonians have at least an 80% loss rate against non-African teams. Like, go back. I was looking at their fixtures. Go back and look. They get touched up by everybody they play.
I believe you.
And they're better than that. They are better than that. But look, you don't win the World Cup because of, I don't know, if the gods think you're a good person or not. You win because of football talent on the pitch, okay? Like, and I'm sorry, these boys just ain't got it. They probably have one of the worst midfields at the World Cup. Probably the worst. I'm not gonna say the worst defense, but bottom 4 defense. It's not good. Anyways, I'm not gonna beat him up. Hopefully, Onana just has 20 saves a game and keeps things close. Let's go to the Swiss. Albert, why don't you start us off with like your thoughts on Switzerland and where you see them finishing in this group?
Yeah, always like with the Swiss, I think they're a team every World Cup that they don't really beat themselves. Like, they make it tough. They're hard out. 2014, Connor, remember, like, they almost took Argentina to penalties. I think they had a last minute shot against the post. You remember that? Yeah, almost. Knocked out France early last year. Tied Brazil 4 years ago. They're just a sneaky, like, annoying team that always seems to have like a solid midfield on down to the goalkeeper. And this year it's more of the same. You got a lot of quality Bundesliga players. You got obviously the goalie Jan Sommer. I think he's a very underrated keeper. You also got Kobel though, who's also the Dortmund keeper. He's also a very good young keeper as well. And then in midfield, I like their spine. Xhaka's really kind of had a renaissance this year at Arsenal under Arteta. And then you got other, talented guys like Shaqiri still around. Zakaria, who's at Chelsea, hasn't been playing a lot, but he's still useful in certain spots.
Playing a lot, bro. You might have 10 minutes all season.
Yeah, but I mean, again, you still have
pitch.
a lot of experience. Yeah. But, I mean, still, that's a lot of experience and talent, I think, especially in midfield. I think going forward, they don't have much. Seferovic is still playing for them. Guy's been around forever.
Shaqiri, too.
I don't think but going forward, they've never had the most dynamic players other than Shaqiri. But I think they are another team that probably finishes. Again, this is going to be a hard group to predict who finishes second, but it's going to be a dogfight between them and Serbia. And some of the Swiss guys also have personal beef with the Serbians too, so that's going to be another interesting game. So, yeah.
Damn.
Is that like some War of Independence thing I don't know about? Like,
yeah, well, Shaqiri and Xhaka, I think their parents are originally from Albania, I think, or they're ethnic Albanians. So they're not big fan of the Serbians because they played Serbia 4 years ago, and I think Shaqiri had that last minute winner against Serbia, and that's when he took his shirt off and did like the Albanian like eagle sign, and that's when he got roasted by the Serbians. So that's another grudge match.
I respect it.
I respect it too. That's dope as fuck. I have no idea of the political implications of that, but that is really cold.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, again, Switzerland is another one of those countries where it's not really like a certain like ethnicity or culture. It's just a mix of what like German, Italian, French influences and African, like guys from Africa as well. So it's a very cosmopolitan, modern team, and I think that plays to their strengths as well. And they're very unified every World Cup, and they're a tough out for sure. They're a tough out.
Yeah.
Albert, you're so well spoken. Damn it.
Appreciate it.
Very cosmopolitan.
You can tell he's media trained, and we are not.
I was like, there's a shit ton of guys down there from all over the place, man. You should have seen it. It's fucking crazy. Italians.
Yeah.
Bro, they do
have
have
a very good take.
They do have a very cosmopolitan team. So Albert, where you got him then? I know it's hard to predict, but
oh man, listen, I know you never count out the Swiss, but when I was preparing for this vid, obviously, I was going through the Serbian team's roster, and honestly, man, as much as I do not like Serbia, and I was never a big fan of like the Yugoslavia teams in the 90s, that is a nice attack. There you go. That might be actually one of the best forward lines in this World Cup. I'm not kidding when I say that. That is a top 5, 10 forward group. You got Vlahovic at Juventus, who's pretty well. Mitrovic, who's balling in the EPL. Tadic, who's probably in the best form of his life right now. Just a lot of good players, and I hate to say it because Serbia is like a team I do not like at all because they're just a very annoying team to me. They've always been like annoying, like pricks in qualifying too. They're a team that never really goes away. They don't qualify for every tournament, but when they do, they're like they're almost like Hungary, kind of like those like tough Eastern European teams.
Yeah.
And I think that given the firepower that they have, I'm leaning towards Serbia finishing second here. I know a lot of guys are picking Switzerland, but I think right now, if I had to pick, I go Serbia making out of this group over Switzerland.
I think it's really tough because Serbia is like, as a national team, this version at least, I would say they're largely untested. And at the 2018 World Cup, they didn't even make it out. And they lost to Scotland on penalties to not go to the last edition of the Euros. Yeah. Like, they've been on it now. They've been on an absolute tear ever since that happened. But it's like what is more important? Like form and youth or experience and I guess like merit almost. Yeah, like the Swiss have been there, done that. I don't know how many times I've been like, Swiss, I don't really know. I mean, they're solid. They got a solid team, but I don't think they'll do much.
Albert, I think what you said about them making mistakes, they don't beat themselves. Like, that is a huge thing in football. Any mistake, a good team will capitalize on it. But that's why it's so hard to beat your Germanys. It's so hard to beat your Germanys. This is why Argentina lost in 2014. Because Germany did not make a single mistake. Not a single mistake.
Well, and y'all couldn't finish.
Well, no, that's the thing.
Back pass, that back header, like pros.
No. Okay, look, the one mistake they made didn't get called. Neuer kneed him in the fucking face, but we don't have to talk about that right now. Yeah. Look, teams like this, they're built like well-oiled machines, right? Yeah. And you need those mistakes. So yeah, I agree. It's kind of up to like, well, what do you value more now? You want like a team that is going to not make any mistakes, consistency, stability, leadership, and pedigree, or are you gonna go for like this young, unsuspecting, like, or not unsuspecting, but firecracker of an offense that seems hungry for this? Because I'm of the same mind. I have Switzerland in third right now. That's where I place them.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Serbia a little shaky. Serbia a little shaky in terms of like their defenders, but
Right.
again, if they finish, never know. But again, Akanji's been playing amazing for City too. So again, it's one of those ones where we could see like a last minute goal in that Swiss Serbia game again
Yeah.
to determine who finishes second. Yeah.
That is very,
Yeah.
very true. That's going to be a
think
huge game. That might be one of the best
huge,
games.
bro. Especially
group
because last time they played, it was a
stage.
90th minute winner.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby. Oh, baby, we're in for a treat. Albert, you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
No, I'm watching that game for sure. I want to see a fight at the end of like
Let's see
Shaqiri
a
doing
fight.
another like eagle, and seeing the Serbians get all mad.
What's
I
like,
love that. Fuck the
what
football.
would
I
the-
want to see a fight, baby.
what would the Serbians throw up? Like a different eagle logo? Like, aren't they also the Eagles?
If you ask like most like teams in Eastern Europe, they all hate the Serbians, right? The Bosnians hate them, the Albanians hate them.
Mm.
You can't. Kosovo can't like. They're the one team in Europe like during qualifying when they draw the pots that I think they have like the most amount of like teams that they can't be drawn with for like political reasons. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But the
Wow.
whole Balkans, bro, they all hate each other.
That is true as well. I mean, yeah.
But the
But
Greeks ain't fans of them either. And they probably not fans of the Greeks. And the Albanians ain't fans of the Greeks. Because the Greeks are dickheads. But I mean,
Yeah.
I still love them. It's just we've talked about it before. That's I think like the fun part, especially as a third party observer of like the narratives that play out in international football. I think that's what makes these
By the way,
fixtures juicy.
I'm seeing Switzerland's roster. They're only taking 6 defenders to the World Cup. So there's 6 only listed on their team, unless one of their midfielders can play back there. So,
dude,
again,
I want to put
another thing to look out for.
I want to put Serbia second, but I think I just have to put the Swiss because of experience. And I really have no confidence in that statement at all. But I'm just going to put them in there. I think Jan Sommer's a dog. Absolute beast in the back. I know he's just coming off an injury, but Jesus Christ, dude, international goalkeepers, this guy's got to be underrated. I mean, if he was not at Mönchengladbach, he could go anywhere. He really could. He saved him so many times. And their midfield is so important in tournaments like this. Granit Xhaka, probably the best he's ever looked. The worry is that a lot of their attacking talent is aging. Seferovic is now in Turkey. Gavranovic, I think is how you say it, is now in Turkey as well. Shaqiri's in the MLS.
Gavranovic
got a lot of downgrades.
Gavranovic didn't even get called up. I think he retired from the national team. He's not even in this team.
Oh, did he?
So,
well, there we go.
Nope.
There we go. He's
Nope.
off. I think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Breel Mbolo is probably going to be the guy who they're expecting to score most of the goals.
Again, he's never impressed me. Like I've seen him in multiple Euros. He's just
I was going to say,
dude,
dog.
like he's there.
I was going to say, bro, like he's pretty good for, I think he's at Lyon this season, but whenever I've seen him for Switzerland, he's never done shit. He's got like 7 goals and 50 caps. It's embarrassing for a forward on this team to have that little output. And I feel like I'm just completely destroying my own pick of having them second. I just don't know if I trust the Serbs to put it together, even though they are stacked and they could beat anybody in this tournament. I just don't. Like, I need to see it. I need to see them do it at this World Cup, and then I'm a believer. Like, I'm bought in to this project.
Yeah.
Some Milinkovic-Savic,
also
keep them balling out.
Yeah. No, it could also come down to who leaks the least goals against Brazil if it comes down to goal differential too.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
So,
very, very true.
What did you think about Serbia, Connor?
Serbia, I mean, same thing. I'm going to save my hot takes kind of about them, but I mean, I rate Mitrovic. That attack is pretty impeccable, and
Disgusting.
Like you said, they give a hungry vibe. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, I have not been religiously following Serbia, but when you said they had a hungry, like, sort of, I don't know, scrappy sort of vibe, that is exactly what you get from them. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's like a football sixth sense that we have or something, but I just got that, and I rate that right now 100%, especially seeing, I mean, maybe this is just a Mitrovic bias, but seeing him like drag Fulham by their fucking legs to relevance, that is incredibly important, especially in the World Cup.
Yeah.
So The fact that he is a leader, he's a presence that's going to make you afraid on the team. And I mean, any opponent is going to have to mark both him and Vlahovic with 2 guys each minimum. That's going to take a lot of attention, and that frees up a lot of space for mistakes because you're counting on 4 guys at least minimum to do their job perfectly. And if they don't, somebody could capitalize. But if there's a team that's going to do that, Switzerland's up there on my list. So, but yeah, that I have Serbia second.
If they can keep a clean sheet against the Swiss, I think they go through.
Yeah.
Because they will score. I mean, I don't see them getting shut out, even by Brazil. I don't think Brazil shut them out. I think Mitrovic corner kick header or something like that. They're
something like that. Yeah.
Dude, man, like him, Vlahovic, they just need to sniff.
Yes. They have a physical presence. Yes. And Brazil does make mistakes. Believe me, they are oppressing, but they do make mistakes. They do make mistakes.
It could be 3-2 Brazil. I wouldn't be surprised.
I like that.
I hope it is, honestly. That sounds awesome.
That does sound incredible. I would love that game.
There'd be a wake-up call for Brazil if it was 3-2. They'd be like, oh, shit. These Euro guys are pretty good after all.
Stop, dude. You fucking stressing me out, bro. I don't like that game anymore. Let's make it a 3-1 and they can stay comfortable.
Anything you want to say about Serbia before we move on, Albert?
Yeah, no, just like I said before, those Eastern European teams, there's always one in a tournament that's scrappy. Like in the Euros, that was Hungary, right? I know they didn't make it past the group stage, but they gave France and Germany a lot of problems. And I think that Serbia could probably be the Hungary of this tournament. They have, a rich footballing history, I guess, in the former Yugoslavia.
Yeah, as Yugoslavia,
I just think the dynamic they have is really good. And like, there's not a lot of 2-man striker teams left. The fact that they have a pretty good one might make it harder for opposing teams to plan for that because usually like coaches aren't used to that anymore. So again, right now I have Serbia going through. It could change, but I think they're one team that even if they don't make it far, they should score a lot of goals. I think.
Yeah. Agreed. Well said.
Yep, I agree. Look, I think I kind of want Serbia to advance because I think it'd be a good story. I think the Swiss have had their time. And honestly, I think the Serbs play more entertaining football. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a dumbass. I probably am a dumbass, but I'm just banking on the Swiss experience. The old Swiss guard to just do the bare minimum to make it to the round of 16 and then lose in extra time to whoever they play. But we're not doing knockouts today. All right, guys. Top goal scorer. Connor, what you think for this group?
This is probably the coldest take out there, but I think Neymar gets a free kick and then probably two goals outside of that. So I think he could leave the group with 2 to 3. I think he's that guy.
What you think, Albert?
I got a hot take. I'm drop it right here.
All right, drop it.
Richarlison, top scorer.
There it is. Okay. Okay, I'm here for it.
I know it's not a bad shout.
What he has to do, if you think about it, just stand there in front of like the 6-yard box, like just in front of the goal. Just stand near the goal line, wait for Neymar to dance past everyone, and just redirect the ball into the net. Just sit there and wait for Vinicius or Neymar to pass it to you, and you're gonna have like 3 goals. Just all he has to do is just stand there and be a blob and redirect the ball, and he'll get like 3 or 2. So
that's true.
I know, and I know people like to rag on him, and I personally don't think he's like the best striker ever, but I think he's a very useful player, and I think he fits well for what Tiche wants to do, and I think there's a reason he's going to start him over Jesus because he's a bit taller and he's more of a target man, and I think Neymar's going to get his, but I think more like 2, and I could see Richarlison bagging like 3. So yeah,
that's a good shout.
That's totally. And I was definitely considering that. I'm glad I didn't have the balls to say it, but you're right. I rate that guy.
Just stand.
I rate that guy.
Yeah. Just stand there, and you'll score. So yeah.
What a fucking team! What a nightmare!
All right, I'm gonna be different, and I'm gonna say Mitrovic. I think it's with two. I think there's a couple guys with joint 2 in this group, and I think he'll be one of them. Cameroon, watch out, baby. He could have both in that game, not do anything against Switzerland or Brazil, but he gets 2 against Cameroon. I can see it.
You rating him top because he gets
think
an outside the box screamer, huh?
No, all physicality, big head, big body goals. That's all I see.
Big
And maybe a
head,
pen.
big
I don't
body.
know if him or Vlahovic takes the pens for Serbia. They literally got like 6 dudes who all take the pens for their clubs. I don't know.
No
I don't know
idea.
who takes it for
Yeah.
them. Kostic might do it. I really don't know. But okay, so we got 3 pretty good shouts, I think. The Swiss, I just don't think there's anybody that gets a couple. I think the goals kind of sprinkle throughout.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna get my first hot take right now. I don't think Cameroon score.
That's
I
not a
don't
hot
think they
take.
score. That's a hot take.
And I was
bro.
gonna say I
No
think
goals.
they'll be lucky to score 1. So
That's not a hot take.
Maybe
We
they
got
score
people.
against
We got people
Serbia.
saying they make it to the round 16. I come out and say they not score. That's not a hot take.
Well, we got a lot of people in the world that are fucking stupid too. So, like,
It's true.
look.
It's
Maybe they score 1 against Serbia, but I did not have them predicted to score any goals, like nothing. And maybe that is my own fault, but like I don't know.
Well, it's not your fault. They haven't showed us a damn thing that
That's what
says
I'm
that they're
saying.
capable. What
I
you know,
don't know.
it's all
I
good
just
to
don't rate them.
they score when they play Ethiopia,
Yeah,
but
this isn't
this ain't-
Ethiopia.
this ain't Ethiopia. Yeah, these
Welcome
are
to
the
the big leagues,
dogs,
baby. Yeah,
Bro, they couldn't I'm sorry, but the fact that they couldn't score against Uzbekistan and Korea in back-to-back games, you not scoring against the Swiss, you not scoring against the Brazilians, the Serbians maybe because they have a relatively low-key back line in terms of like club stature, maybe.
Yeah.
If you can get the ball that high up the pitch,
well, it sounds
which
like
I'm not sure they can.
It sounds like they weren't even attempting to score, right? You said they were playing defensively in Korea.
They're trying to
Parking the
counter.
bus. Terrible.
Oh, balls over top, but it just didn't work. It's not going to work.
That's not
that's
going to
like,
work against any of these guys. They're going to take the
No,
ball
they-
from you. The Serbians are going to body you off the ball. They're going to kick it in. And I mean, the Swiss are just going to murder you with possession. Not to mention the Brazilians. Jesus Christ. They're just going to dance their way straight into the back of goal.
Yeah. And the Brazilians are for a South American team, they're pretty big.
They're big. They're big.
I mean, Militao, Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, Casemiro.
Casemiro's not a small guy.
No, they'll be able to
Just
defend the set pieces.
Richarlison. Oh, yeah.
Richarlison, yeah. Even, I mean, Lodi didn't get called up, but he's pretty big. Emerson Royale is pretty tall for a fullback.
Neymar's skinny, but he's not small.
I mean, bro, they're going to have him like at midfield for the corners. He's not even going to have to mark anybody, but
Yeah.
and I don't know. Allison and keeper. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for the Cameroonians to score. Anybody else got any hot takes?
Yeah.
Or if
I was gonna say maybe the Cameroon's manager like quits halfway through the tournament and just didn't show up for the last game.
Dude, that would be incredible. I would pay money to see that.
Dude, Samuel Eto'o just needs to step in at that point. Be like, I'm just gonna do everything.
He might just come down for the press box. Be
I
like,
hope not,
He
bro.
should. He
I hope
comes
that.
down.
I just hope they like lose every game like 2-0. I don't want them to get like absolutely embarrassed. But they probably
do.
will.
I want them to get embarrassed. I think that's the only way to inspire change. Argentina required 2 national incidents back-to-back years.
Yeah.
And guess what hasn't happened since? That's all I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Let's make this a good future for people ahead of us. I don't know. That's where I'm at. Just rip it off like a Band-Aid now.
That's fair.
2026 will be way better. My hot take. You ready for this? This is a hot take.
All right.
I don't think Vlahovic is going to score. I think that motherfucker is mid. I think his biggest contribution to Serbia is going to be that he will be a distraction. He's going to pull 2 guys away from Mitrovic. That is my hot take about this guy. I think he had a really good run of form with Fiorentina, and I think he's still struggling to find himself as a player. I think he's very physically talented, so he's going to scare the defense a lot. But I really don't think maybe the odd goal. My vote is that he's not going to score. I don't rate the lad. I think he's soft.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, he's still quite young.
He is.
I've heard that he hasn't found his way at Juventus yet. But again, nobody's found their way at Juventus this season. But no, I mean, I get that. But honestly, like maybe that's all he has to do, though, just be a distraction to give Mitrovic space. But we'll see. I mean, I have similar thoughts about Darwin Nunez too, but with young strikers, you
Yeah.
never know. Like it's really hard to project. Like, but
Yeah.
no, I see what you're saying though for sure though. I do.
I don't know if he's soft. I don't know if I would grant you that. I think I've seen him score a couple bangers with literally an inch of space. Like he's good. He's definitely
He's
good.
good.
Will he score? I mean, at most I see him getting one. At most I see him getting one.
For the record, I was expecting a much more polarizing reaction. I will concede he is good. I don't know if he's soft. He's very talented. You see the videos from training. The guy is very physical. He's got a great touch and a great finishing capability, but I do think he has yet to find his way, and that's not going to happen at the Juventus that is currently playing. Like that is the Juventus that is being fielded right now. Nobody's growing there, unfortunately.
I'm looking at him. He's got 8 goals and 16 caps. I mean, that's pretty good for just playing European teams, as well as holy shit, 4 assists. He's got 12 goal involvements in 16 games. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn.
Fuck that guy.
That's pretty damn. This man fire. He's scoring back in a hat trick.
Mitrovic isn't touching the ball.
Dude, watch Mitrovic not score.
I'm going to look like the biggest asshole. Albert's like, why did I get repped in with these fucking guys? Damn it.
Yeah, I don't care if he doesn't score at all. Like,
dude, I didn't know this. Okay, first off, Mitrovic has 50 goals in 76 games for Serbia. That's insane. That's disgusting.
Where was this man before Fulham? Like, why are we just now?
I think he's just been at Fulham because Fulham just sucks. He was like he was at Newcastle for a second. Maybe 2 seasons?
Dude, imagine if he was at Newcastle now. Scary.
Okay, so according to Transfer Market, Mitrovic does have an ankle injury, but he's expected back before the World Cup. I mean, he's got 3 goals in his last 4 Prem games.
He'll be fine.
I think he'll be fine.
He'll be all right.
I mean, without him, then Serbia, they don't go through. I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's crazy though. That I'm gonna say KD of their front two, but their GD, if you want to call it, goal to death
Goal
ratio. No, I'm trying to put this in COD terms.
Oh,
The fact that both of their forwards score at that proficiency is insane, and it's also insane that Luka Jovic, who was supposed to be like that, bro, like he won't even start. I don't even think my buddy told me he's not starting for Fiorentina, which is embarrassing. But still, just to even have a guy like that come off the bench when you need something, like I don't think the Swiss got something like that. They got that young kid Okafor, but he's got like 5 caps. It's just unrealistic to expect that he's going to do anything.
yeah.
So, well, I pray to God that Mitrovic makes the World Cup because I want to see the Serbs and the Swiss go at it like full strength.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah.
Jesus, I really only had that one hot take. I didn't really think anything else was that hot. Maybe it's hot to say the Swiss go through. I don't know. I don't know what the consensus is. What have y'all seen? Are most people saying the Swiss over Serbia?
I don't know how much. I don't know how much I've seen. I really am kind of trying to stay away from those. I wanted my opinions to be pretty untainted.
I don't think the group's getting a lot of love.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Most of the ESPN FC guys, I think most of the ESPN FC guys had Switzerland going through. So.
Okay. I mean, it's a solid pick. That is a sports analytics pick right there.
Oh,
that is like, hey, this is consistency. This is pedigree. They play well at the World Cup. They play well against European teams. We want something solid.
I feel like when I see ESPN FC do something, I immediately want to do the opposite thing. They had some of the worst brackets I've ever seen. And I don't know if they're doing it just for like media clicks or something or like engagement, but it was horrible. It was horrible, bro. Oh my God. I think it was Craig Burley who was talking about Iran. It was just like so dismissive. So dismissive. I was like, you better put some respect on the Iranian national team, bro.
They're gonna embarrass somebody. Somebody's getting embarrassed.
Yeah, because they would have touched up Scotland if Scotland actually made it, but they weren't good enough. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, there's no respect for like some of these teams. If you're not European, there's like no respect. And Brazil, but like people don't even watch Brazil. It's obvious. They just like
They
know
just use
the
the
badge.
pedigree. They're
Yeah.
like, well, Pele was really good. Then they had
Yeah.
Ronaldinho. So
Yeah.
they just know Ronaldinho because Kobe was friends with him. That's it.
Well, they know the players because the players play everywhere, but they don't watch the national team. Like club performance does not always translate to the
No.
national team. And people should know this by now.
I would say rarely it does.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on the position. I think it depends on the player and the system that they're going back to with their national team. If it's the same, then in theory, you would expect them to be able to replicate it. But if he's asked to do a completely different role, you cannot expect the same guy.
Yeah.
He's receiving different instruction. And maybe this group is not getting talked about as much. Like, I'm a little shocked how little I've seen about it because there's not an English-speaking team in here, maybe, and like two relatively small European teams. And I think everyone's just defaulting to assume Brazil's going to stomp. Maybe. That's my theory.
Brazil's going to stop.
I don't know. They will choke up against one of these teams. And I mean, not Cameroon, but
I'm
the
hoping that
Serbs or
happens in the round of
Swiss.
16. I'm hoping that they stomp here and they get to the round of 16 and they trip up. Dude, I'm telling you, that's why I was, knock on wood, Anula Mufa. That's what I was saying about Argentina. I want them to get their ass kicked. I want them to get humbled in the group stage so that they get that shit together and they're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, we are incredible, but we need to check our ego here. There's an old joke about Argentines, and basically the translation is, how do you kill an Argentine? They're like, oh, how? And they're like, well, you tell him to climb on top of his ego and jump. I'm telling you, that could probably happen for realistically, it's like us, the Chileans, but I'm sure the Brazilians get there too. Like, I don't know if they're going to trip up. Let's hope it happens in one of the later rounds.
Yeah,
or I'm hoping
when it eliminates them.
when it fucking matters. Yeah.
Albert, what you reading over there, dog?
I'm just reading just the previews, like the predictions for other people. It seems like mostly like just like European bias. So
They mostly got the Swiss going through?
the Swiss, and then I think one of them had Iran going through. I forgot which one it was, but one of them did have Iran going through, I think. Don't remember if it was Don Hutchinson or Frank LaBeouf, but one of them did. But yeah, I think someone's gonna slip up too. Like one of the big European teams are probably not making it out of the group stage, I think. So
Did you see?
There's always one.
Oh yeah, dude, there might be a couple this season. But did you see the guy from ESPN that put Cameroon going through? It was somebody had Cameroon round of 16. They didn't have any names when I saw the bracket, so I don't know. But I remember it just flashed on my screen. I was like,
I don't know if anyone. I know. Remember some guys had Ghana going through, but I don't know if anyone had Cameroon going through. So yeah.
You can't believe this. They don't believe this. It's a joke. Has to be.
You remember when Alexi Lalas, with a straight face, said, "I'm taking United States 2-0 or 2-1." I can't remember. In the Copa America that was joint hosted in the United States. You remember that shit? That is burned into my brain.
It is.
I will never forget. I've since forgiven him. I think he has grown as an analyst, but Jesus Christ, that was infuriating. And that Messi free kick made it all worth it.